Hey, good morning, guys. Isaac, good morning. How you doing, brother? A little bit of a gap down in the markets overnight. A bit of a gap up in crude oil, gap up in silver, gold, and copper. You should trim as they get extended from the 50 simple moving average. So you should have trimmed when it was 7, 8 times its average true range from the 50. And then every ATR above 7 or 8, you should trim a little bit more. I like to trim 20% of what I have left, but you truly have to do what makes you comfortable. Some people just like to trail entirely. But yesterday was the biggest volume, dollar volume in the entire up move. And at some point, you want to start to think that to yourself that it's starting to accelerate to the upside, and you want to get paid. So, you don't just want to sit there. You got to get paid. And the only way to get paid is to sell some. Every ATR after 7 is for me normally a pretty good trim, and then um, it had a hell of a move yesterday. So Hut's on watch, but here's the thing. Is there anything that you're noticing that might make you not buy it, Hammer? Is there anything you're seeing this morning that you would say, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna be patient before I go buying Hut. Anything? Look for reasons not to take a trade instead of just trying to find reasons to always click the button. Is there anything you see this morning that would kind of make you hesitant on wanting to buy more? I don't know what longer term chart means, man. I don't. The chart decides if it's going to be longer term or not you. Bitcoin down's a decent reason. Anything else? Always finds reasons to not buy a chart today. Yeah, market's down. That's another one. No, off 50% from his highs doesn't bother me as much. So are all the other crypto miners. But the market's down a little bit this morning, right? Bitcoin's down a little bit this morning. Coin's down some this morning. MSTR's down some this morning. So, we'll see how it acts in the morning. We'll see how it acts at the open. But, the last thing you potentially want to be doing is just, buying yourself into a chart that might be gapping down. And guess what? It is, down 53 cents so far this morning, and not too far from yesterday's low. So, you don't just want to start buying something just for the sake of, I like the chart, right? Like, that's not, just because you like a chart is not enough of a reason to just go buy it. When you buy something, you should want to try and time it out well enough that, it's pushing away from your average on the day that you buy it. No, I don't. I don't stream on Discord until 8:20 in the morning, so another 40 minutes basically. 8:20 my time. Yeah, Apple's up this morning. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I don't just want to buy. So, Timo, one of the things that you want to think to yourself is when the market's pulling back, right? When the market's pulling back, how are you judging what stock's showing relative strength? So, you see ANET, you see COHR, and the reason they just got above their over their 200 simple moving average is one, they're lagging the market by a little bit, right? Market's effectively at a new all-time high, and these names just got above their 200 simple moving average. So, when the market begins to pull back a little bit, which could be any day now, including this morning and some continuation lower, um, you'll basically be wanting to judge, is the stock starting to outperform the market, meaning when the market's starting to pull back, is this thing starting to kind of just consolidate and go sideways or even push higher? When the market's pulling back, I don't want to trade tech highly correlated beta names to the market. You're just basically going to end up with a headache. You just want to track relative strength when the market's going down. You don't want to trade it. David, that link is on my X page. I think I even have it on my YouTube as well. Yeah, exactly. With Momo names, sometimes it really doesn't matter. But if you're trading like a crypto Momo name, you want to be looking at crypto, right? And if you're trading something like HUT, then you are kind of eyeballing what's Riot doing, what's Mara doing, what's CleanSpark doing, what's Cypher doing, what's Cores doing, what's Iron doing, what's Wolf doing. If that makes sense. Like you have your basket of stocks, what are they doing? And that gives you a better idea if HUD's good today. If the group is acting really well, even with Bitcoin coming down, then yeah, you could take a little stab at it. But ideally, if they're acting well and Bitcoin's still not acting all that well, and maybe even the market in general is kind of coming down, you could just wait until the market's going up, aka crypto, Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden these stocks are really outperforming and you're getting a good push away from your average so you can comfortably sit with it overnight. If you go to buy something when the market's going down, the likelihood is it's not going to push away from your average cleanly and you're just going to end up looking at red, right? Well, that's not the most comfortable situation to be in. So yeah, the profit climb, you're basically stating almost exactly what I said. So I'm just tracking relative strength when the market's going down or pulling back. And then, I'm looking to get positioned in things that have been showing relative strength when the market's turning up. It's the best way to look at it. No, I don't use a 4-hour time frame. And no, I wouldn't consider buying ANF over 84. It's below the 200 simple moving average. What are your thoughts on coin, Robert? I know my thoughts on coin. What are yours? I'd love to hear yours first. What do you think up here after this big ass move? Anything? Massive move. What do you think would be good for coin? Well, gold's not very crowded. Gold's not crowded. Copper's not crowded. So, and something like KGC did awesome. I talked about it in last night's after hours video. KGC did the perfect thing and bounced right off the 50. NEM did the perfect thing and bounced right off the 20. And now, you're gapping up some more. So, yeah, Robert, that's exactly right. You want coin to go sideways before you get involved in it. I mean, it's up a ton, right? So it's not, even though it's pulling back right now, it's not doing anything wrong per se. Right? You want it to go sideways. You want it to digest those big gains. Then, you could either look for it against a pullback into a rising moving average, or you could just wait for it to go sideways, digest, and then you come buying it out of the next little, flag, the next little bit of sideways consolidation. That's right. Risk manage. That's exactly right. You want to just see it consolidate, let the moving averages catch up, and then, maybe the day that it goes to break out, Bitcoin's up over 111,000, it's gotten nice and tight, etc. Yeah, I like KGC. I liked it more against ascending moving averages. Against the 50, I thought looked even better. I don't hate SMR, but what else would you want to see with it? One, it's pulling back this morning, so nothing super crazy or violent, but SMR is pulling back this morning. So how would you get involved into SMR? Think that through to yourself, before the market open. What's something you'd want to see with SMR before getting involved? Or what are a few things you'd want to see with SMR before getting involved? And then how would you buy it if that happens? I did. Yeah, it's posted on X or YouTube. I don't really read market breadth. I use FinViz just to see advancers and decliners, and then I just scan the market a ton during the day, and then at the close, I'm consistently scanning the market. My thoughts on TMDX: I like the bounce back. Yeah, I've got a level here. I want to see it take out this day's high, 618's high. Do I like LEU? I think the group's been really strong. I don't know that I like it here just yet, but tons of average daily range on that name. LEU and CCJ and BWXT seem to be your leaders. Yeah, those are your leaders right there. Yeah, yeah, this isn't. I like the way it bounced right at the 50 simple moving average yesterday. right? A really easy entry was just a break of prior day high and a 5-minute opening range break. I mean, they really, if you were paying attention to this thing, they effectively didn't make this thing any easier. Effectively, your breakout was right here, 5-minute opening range break or a break of prior day high. So you could have bought it right here. You could have bought it right there. Stop at low of day. Very small risk, 1.5%. Use prior day low even if you wanted. Even 5% risk. I mean, still very small. And then, massive move, gap up overnight. I mean, it's perfect. Gold doesn't look bad at all either. Just reclaimed its 50 simple moving average. We'll see if it fails today. It could fail trying to get back through the 50, but it's just been building a series of higher lows, right? All these little dips get bought back up. Man, CCJ hurts, dude. CCJ hurts. I once had 50,000 shares at like $25 and, took a 250K hit on that thing overnight. APLD, it's like one of these data center names. APLD is like your APLD is like your HUD, your whatever these data, but it's not acting. It's also gapping down overnight. Just broke yesterday's lows. I mean, it's like the momentum's completely gone in this thing. Yeah, all the gold names had entries yesterday. You want to buy your commodities. You've probably heard me say this before. You want to buy your commodities to pullbacks to ascending moving averages. That's how you want to buy your commodities. Yesterday, that's what they were doing. Nah. I mean, what about MVST? It's just consolidating here. It's not really, doesn't look ready to go just yet. It's coming off of you know, some odd rebalancing bar and then a complete distribution bar yesterday. You'd love to hear from me a bit about fundamental theme research. Basically, what do you check about a company besides a chart? Maybe a futures video. No, I don't look at a company's video. None of that matters to me. What I look at for a company is one, I make sure when I'm doing my scanning, I only care about stocks, within the upper half of the market. So top 40 groups, that's the most important. And then secondly, do they have a clean technical setup where I think I could buy it, the next day? And then finally, do they have good earnings and sales? Because do you think that institutions are watching videos on a specific company? They also don't give a shit, right? They care more about if this said company is making money, right? And then that's what entices them to buy for quarters on end. Yeah, Apple's still in a downtrend. Yeah, people talked about Apple. It's still in a downtrend. Looks terrible. Could it finally go higher? Maybe, but it's still in a downtrend. Yep, those names showed a little bit of relative strength yesterday, but so did a bunch of other names. We'll see what happens today. I'm not in Shopify. Nope. I'm not in Shopify. I'm not in SE. No, I want to see positive quarter over quarter growth. Ideally, multiple quarters in a row. Ideally, multiple quarters in a row. Accelerating earnings and sales is exactly what catches an institution's eye. Zeta looks absolutely terrible, David. Why would you even be looking at this? Stick a 200 simple moving average on your chart. If it's below the 200 simple moving average, you don't even have to ask me about it. I'm just going to tell you it looks like shit. No, I don't think you're saying anything too crazy there, in my opinion. The market could use a little bit of a pullback. It's up like however many days in a row. Yeah, I mean, a bit of an acceleration here recently would be totally healthy. Market still looks great, but we'll see. Longer the digestion, the better. I have ARC, I have CCL, and I'm missing out on a bunch of stocks that I used to own, but that I no longer own. Probably the few most painful are Hood, CLS. That one kind of sucks. Yeah, I saw HNGE. Yeah, pretty dang big move, huh? But I won't be playing this recent IPO. My thoughts on QBTS. It's I'm not sure what the hell's going on here with this gap up. But is it really showing relative strength? I mean, market has been going up for like the last however many days, and this thing lost 30% in 2 weeks. So the market was going up, and this thing was just kind of going down. So now it's just going up a day while the market's going down. I mean, relative strength for a day, I guess. Yeah, AG. Yeah, very nice. Sands, another one that looks really good. That came on my scans yesterday. 960 this morning. Looks good. Yeah, was that the news? Is that why it popped? I mean that's not that exciting of news, I'll tell you that. They closed their offering, so that's the reason they run it up. I mean, they're nice momentum stocks, but they're not, in my opinion, they're not even worth owning. I like KGC more because of liquidity, right? Sand isn't as liquid for me, so this one trades $50 million a day, so that doesn't really work for my account. KGC trades $330 million a day. That works a whole lot better. No, I don't have UNH on the watch list. It's below the 200 simple moving average. I don't buy stocks in downtrends, and I sure as hell don't care if big traders are in UNH. It makes no difference to me what anybody else is doing and how they manage their money. But just because somebody jumps off a bridge doesn't mean I also jump off the same bridge. You bought the breakout on Hood yesterday, but it was so extended. You shouldn't. I mean, if you were playing just like the parabolic blow off move, fine. But you were buying this thing so extended yesterday. I mean, that's kind of insane, to be honest with you. I mean, you were literally buying this thing quite a bit extended from the 50 at the time, like almost 6 times its average true range from the 50. It's a no go. I mean, you could have just, if you're just playing the final parabolic move, fine. But that's all there really is. Yeah, that this is I wouldn't be chasing this stock. Your buy was down here coming out of this little, earnings high, and this any one of these 3 days could have been bought in my opinion. Even out of this little flag too. No, I don't there's not enough liquidity, man. I can't buy it I can't buy it in pre-market. There's like it's already very low volume stock, like not enough dollar volume for me. Thank you, man. Yeah, I wish they all worked like OST. I had been watching that one for like a few days before it finally imploded, but it had a nice little fade in pre-market and then reclaimed and then just started to build lower highs from there. And yeah, it was absolutely awesome. I knew once it halted, my only like at the time I was like, man, I wish I had like 100,000 shares or a little bit more. But it was just such a nice insane gap down, once it halted. So, boy, I wish they all worked that easy. I knew once it halted, it was going to be a massive trade. So, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I wish they all worked that well. Thoughts on NNE entry today? Okay, let me ask you, why the hell would you want the laggard in the space? Why would you even consider NNE? If you like NNE, you should love Oklo or you should love SMR. Why do you even have NNE on your radar, Medi? That's the $1 million question. Why do you even have NNE on your radar? It should be in the garbage bin, is where you should have NNE. Well, UEC, that's moving more with CCJ, but it's also a laggard. I don't know why anybody has UEC on the radar either. The only way UEC goes higher is if CCJ goes higher. No, there was zero risk that I wouldn't get filled because I got filled before the halt down. But yeah, why NNE? You want to know my thoughts on NNE? And this is me being nice. It's a total piece of shit. How come SMR and Oklo saw new 52-week highs and NNE didn't? Because it's trash. Yeah, the problem with CCJ is it isn't giving an entry. That's how much stronger it is than UEC. Meanwhile, UEC is effectively still going sideways. So you're basically looking to buy this piece of shit with this kind of price action, but you can't get situated into this monster, right? But which one would you rather own? By the way, if this one were to, let's say, go back to like, let's just say for the sake of discussion, this thing drops all the way back to $57. What do you think happens to UEC? Probably pukes. No, I'm talking about daily moving averages. I'm talking about pullbacks to daily moving averages like a KGC yesterday, right? So Friday it's resting right up against the 50-day, right? And then on Monday, yesterday, it's pushing away from the 50-day. So you're looking at smaller time frame entries against daily moving averages. Were you risking as much? Yeah, I was risking about 20 grand on OST. But there are times when I take, swing longs where I'm risking much more. Yeah, exactly. Q's advice is perfect. Trade things that are linear. Does NNE look linear? It's just a piece of shit. That's me being friendly. Nobody should try and own this crap. Oklo, much better. Much better. SMR, way better. NNE, hot trash. Didn't even get close to its 52-week highs. No, I mean, why would you? Why would you? Why would you trade the laggard? Why would you want to put that shit in your portfolio? You should not want to put that crap in your portfolio at all. Because what happens to UEC if CCJ comes off the highs? right? What do you think happens to UEC? It's going to get crushed. So you want to be in the one that gets crushed the most, that's like basically at its flattening moving averages, versus the one that's got tons of support as it comes lower in a CCJ. You just got to wait for the leader to go sideways. If the leader doesn't go sideways and tighten up for you and give you an entry, you should not be going for the laggard. I mean, because while the leader tightens up and tries to give you a setup as a long, the laggards just please, guys, don't ask me about shitty quantum stocks. They're shitty. Herbert, they're shitty. QUBT is, probably going to squeeze higher because everybody keeps calling them shitty, but these aren't, they're shitty. Rigetti is crap. Until they start making some money, good earnings and sales. Well, honestly, they should pop out to you during a market correction. Right, Steve or Strata? You should when you're scanning the market and you're scanning for 30-day or 90-day relative strength scan, right? You'll notice that like the market's pulling back and this stock's going up, that stock's going up, this stock's going up, whatever. And then you'll say to yourself like, "Holy cow, these are all in the same group." Right? And that will catch your attention. And then you could also look at FinViz too. You could look at leading groups over the last 30 days, 90 days. And then look for periods of digestion, because those are the stocks you're trying to get involved in. Leaders. When will I trade VABA? When it gets back above its 50 simple moving average. I mean, this price action's not that great. I'd rather try to get myself situated into FUTU, or I'd rather try to get myself situated into TME. Right? Why is TME at a new high, 52-week high, but BABA is still below its 50-day? Which one would you rather have? Why would Oklo over 55 be a good buy? So you're telling me that buying this thing inside yesterday's range right here would be a good buy? So then why wasn't it a good buy 2 days ago, or why wasn't it a good buy yesterday? You're telling me literally buying this thing right here. I'm going to draw the line for you. You're telling me buying this thing at 56 bucks, like right here, feels like the right thing to do? Just right down here, same price it's been for like the last 5 days? Yeah, it's not Twilio's fault. I think, you get to a point where, the market has gone up so much in such a short period of time that, stocks need to digest. Guys, the best buys in the market come after a correction. Keying on the word after, right? The market got pummeled in February, March, and then bottomed first week of April. And then what do you think happened? Right? The stock market ripped and the best stocks were already showing their face. Palantir, Uber, Hood, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, Netflix, Spotify, Dash, right? The best stocks, Roblox, the best stocks were already kind of flashing signs of strength while the market was still going down. And guess what? Those are still your leaders right now, basically. AVGO, NVIDIA. No, Geo. This looks like a good consolidation to you. The stock just went from 60 to 190, and you think a little blip down is a good consolidation, my friend? No. This here is a good consolidation after a strong move up. See the strong move up? See the sideways? Knowing that DeepSeek happened, that's all hindsight, but this is a good consolidation. Look at JP Morgan recently. Right? This is a good consolidation. A move up and then a move sideways. Car looks nothing like that. How do you trade Tesla now? You don't trade Tesla now. That makes it easy. You wait for some consolidation and you wait for it to actually perk up. My thoughts on Fubo, fairly surprising. I don't really see an entry here. Let it give you like a higher low, right? And then maybe let it break this level cleanly. No, I don't hold any copper stocks, but I will be watching, like an FCX this morning. We'll see. Yeah, I think about base counting, right? Like how many times a stock has based before a move higher, right? Or like since it's moved higher, right? Like once you get on the third and fourth base, you might be getting to a late stage base. Uber, nice consolidation. Yeah. Wouldn't use the word nice, but yeah. It's not the amount of days. There's not like a certain amount of days that are necessary. It's you just want to see a consolidation and you want to see an area where you can manage risk, right? So sometimes, consolidation might only need to be 5 days. If the stock just broke out and it's still fairly tight to its moving average. And sometimes, after a really big advance, a consolidation needs to last 5 months. My opinion on SE, I tried to buy it yesterday and not enough cushion to hold it overnight. And I'm glad I took my small little loss because, now I would be looking at it gap down even more. Same with Shopify, right? Same with Archer. You need cushion on your stocks on the day you buy them to hold them overnight. TKO, a very nice move, but, it's not buyable here anymore. No longer buyable. Yeah, SMR could be buyable at 41, over 41. Now you just, Isaac, you would want to be making sure that, Oklow's maybe pushing a bit higher, right? That the group has still got some nice strength going on. But yeah, I mean, overall, over 41, I think looks like a pretty good spot for SMR. You might see the link on my YouTube page or X page. SEI gapping up over a 1 month consolidation. Yeah, not bad. Is there news this morning? Had to be. No news this morning? Well, that's pretty weird. Yeah, I saw TEM. Yeah, I mean, we're right there, right? Poor action from some of these, man. Like even I cut this on the 18th and it's just been really poor action. Core weave getting tighter. Yeah, it tried to push out yesterday and then just got completely stuffed. I mean, that's not pretty action yesterday. Not pretty action at all. Who knows? Who knows what this does? It's just been going sideways for a few weeks. Ideally, a little breakdown and then a rebuild of the base. It had made such a massive move up that the longer, we can tighten up here, the better. Yeah, I don't have too much different of sell rules. I still look for like a 2, 3 day push, and then I'll trim some into strength and then just trail the rest. Usually smaller size. PWR is at a new high. Yeah, this company's got great earnings and sales. I'm not sure. I don't really like these V-shaped recoveries like this. Would want to see some better digestion up here. This kind of looks like Microsoft's twin, just in a totally different sector. Funny how that works. Dan, the auto parts maker. Dan, they're like auto parts, if I'm not mistaken. Dana, eh. The real problem with Dana, one, it's not that it doesn't trade super liquid. Like less than $40 million a day, and two, it's even kind of slow too. Right, it only moves 3% per day. It's not that exciting of a name, honestly. Anyway, guys, trade them well today. I got to get ready for stream. I appreciate you guys as always for being here and asking tons of questions. Sorry if I come off a little bit rough sometimes on the. Got to show some tough love so you guys stop looking at poopy stocks. And I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early, 23 hours from now. Trade them well today. Don't do anything crazy. It's a shortened weekend.